There's the click. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity. I want to tell you about football and the impact of football in Italy. And it's kind of religion. I'm a little bit ashamed. I don't know if the same effect in Sweden, but that's it. It seems the only very attractive thing. Anyway, just a couple of words about Naquadria is a relatively small internet provider based in Piacenza, which is southeast of Milan, if someone is interested. Regarding the power consumption, we are just upgrading to 1 megawatt, so it's very, very small compared to the consumption we were talking this morning. We also run an internet exchange. This is not yet an independent legal entity, but for us, for example, we host a K-root node in the spirit of resiliency of the internet, which is not well distributed in Italy, which is a main point in Milan. We are just close to Milan, but not in the same main campus. And then it's expanding in Rome and so on. But it's not very relevant because we don't have, retail customer. So we see special business customer. In fact, we host Microsoft Cache, which is used, for example, on the patch Tuesday. But we don't see any effect on the football matches and so on. Try to restrict the boundary, which is very, very large. There are many live sports events followed in Italy. Also, Formula One is well followed, but nothing compares to football. And in football, we have the Italian League, which is called Serie A, which mainly plays during the weekend. So we will see every now and then a spike, a peak on Saturday night, Sunday night, maybe Monday night, depends on which match is played. But there is a huge interest in the Champions League, which is the main tournament in Europe. And the Champions League plays on Tuesday and Wednesday. There are at least two providers that stream the football matches, but we want to concentrate only on the Wednesday night matches, which are streamed only by Amazon Prime Video. So we have a strict measure because the other matches are streamed, for example, from Sky Italia, and it is both satellite and on the internet. Some matches are free to air, so are encrypted. So in this case, it's exclusively streamed by Amazon Prime, and it's easy to see the impact and to measure the variation compared to the standard behavior, the weekly behavior, the previous Wednesday, and so on. They played a lot of matches in this talk. We have the end of the last Champions League, which was in the spring, that's 1 year ago. The first phase, which it is a brand new name called the league phase, which started in September and ended end of January. And there is the knockout phase, which is running and will end in May. Maybe the final, which is it is on Saturday, not on Wednesday, will be played end of May or beginning of June. But never mind. Some details of what is in Italy and what we are measuring. Ordered by traffic, number of peers, and so on. There is the MIX, which is the Milan Internet Exchange, which does not play in this collecting game. I will show you why. There is NAMEX, which is based in Rome, and then there is another internet exchange in Milan, which is MINAP, and the other one. as said, our internet exchange is too small and does not provide, let's say, retail traffic, so it's not interesting in this analysis. We gather only publicly available traffic data. So even if, for example, we've share knowledge with NAMEX colleagues or MIX colleagues, and we are a member of MINAP, so we can see all the traffic of the other vendors. We do not share numbers or figures about any of the players. So all the data that are available, we are used, I think, with that traffic graphs and the patterns. One of the things that I personally found, but not only me, complicated is that if you don't get a snapshot or numbers, you lose the details. So it's difficult to compare, for example, a match of yesterday compared to 1 month ago, compared to a similar match 1 year ago, and so on and so on. That's why we start collecting publicly available data, and I will show which kind of data later. Then, focusing on these matches, we try to measure and introduce some measures related to what we call prime time. I've searched, but have not found a unique definition of prime time related to the television. It is very shifted. It depends on which country are you looking for. For example, if you follow the graphic, the traffic graphics of Netnod, the minimum is earlier than Italy, and also the maximum. I will show you something later. And then, okay, let's with a lot of ideas in mind, we restrict the analysis to the Wednesday night football, and try on streamed on Amazon Prime Video, and try to analyze which is the difference. Why XP Manager? Starting from that question, I mean, how can we get, instead of graphs, numbers, figures? One of the colleagues in MINAP, in MINOG, sorry, which also runs MINAP, is one of the contributors of XP Manager. Talking with him a couple of years ago, one year and a half ago, he said, no, actually there is an API that we expose, and you can easily get the traffic and then do whatever you want with this traffic. Of course, if you don't poll in that specific time, you lose the data, but say, okay, it's not that complicated. There are a lot of internet exchanges that are using that, and it is easy because the API we are calling are exactly the same. So this is taken from the documentation of XP Manager. What we are calling is that, of course, the arguments, period, daily, and so on, and so on, and so on. We choose to have a JSON output, and then we usually look for the current in traffic and the current out traffic, which is in bits per second. Of course, you know that this is not the precise measure. It is published every 300 seconds, so every 5 minutes, and is the average of the 5 minutes earlier. But it's anyway, it's a good number to poll and to gather. Of course, we can poll every second, every minute, but we used to get always the same value, waiting for the next published exposed. So we try to tune every 5 minutes, but most of the time we get the same values, so a lot of steps and so on. We choose to have a 10-minute sampling. Actually, we poll every 5 minutes, but do not use the values. Having these values, we use the timestamp, the current values, and so on. But not only, if you see just above, there is a max in at, and it is related to the last 24 hours. Actually, there are 32, but never mind. You can, if you lose the maximum, you anyway have a field with the maximum. So we every 10 minutes gather a record, which is not that complicated because we have 144 samples in a day, so you see the numbers. They are not huge files. We are gathering at this stage. We have not yet published, but we are talking with colleagues, for example, in Croatia and Bosnia. You've seen in the map. Were interested about measuring the basketball, in this case, not football, basketball matches and the impact. So we likely share our experience and knowledge and build some common project. Okay, when you have all this data, you can simply gather and think to some other will analyze, or try to do some simple to complicated analysis. One of the things that was analyzing last year is to measure the pattern. I mean, with a lot of normalization statistics in order to figure out if two IXPs have a similar pattern or completely overlaps pattern, just like in Italy. And to measure, for example, how large are the deviation from some specific days, a specific event, or specific place. These are a couple of examples. This is 1 week in NAMEX in Rome, the week 9, which is about 3 weeks ago. The days are overlapped, which is one of the view we can't find usually in the IXP publicly exposed. And I want to underline a couple of things. One of the things I was interested in is when exactly is the minimum of the day and how large it is. It was a little bit egoistic because I was trying to schedule which was the best maintenance window to work on things. And instead of doing, let's say, in the 3 in the night, 2 in the night, or whatever, you see that even early in the morning, something like 6 or 7 in the morning, you are very close to the minimum. So, and another thing very strange in Italy, I don't know the other countries, but not sure in Sweden. For example, I've seen the last days, but it's quite consistent. The minimum is about 3 in the morning, so at least 2 hours earlier. And then the maximum, you see, that's weird, the prime time definition, which stands from 9 to 11 p.m. I've seen that at least 2 or 3 hours shifted earlier, because the maximum in Sweden is 7 p.m., sometimes earlier. The strange factor is that in Italy, at midnight, we have more traffic than the midday. So I guess what are people doing in the morning, but I don't want any answer. But I'm thinking to my kids that at 3 in the night, they are shouting and playing to some I don't know, Fortnite or whatever. Never mind. The same week on the other internet exchange, which is in Milan, you see a very similar pattern. I want to light the green late afternoon, which is on Saturday, because it is an Italian league football match. This is very important because maybe it was a note before. In the MINAP internet exchange, Amazon is not a member. There are several members, of course, access providers, a lot of CDNs and so on, but not explicitly Amazon on MINAP, while in NAMEX and NAMEX, yes. So this will be important later. This is, for example, another kind of graphs. You have, this is the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, comparing weekly. So starting from the beginning of the year, which actually week 1 started end of December. Anyway, the one thing that you can note that the peaks in the prime time on Sunday are more, much more than on Saturday. And then you can see very similar pattern, and you can follow some specific events. For example, see late afternoon on Saturday, you can easily join the curve, the hump, to the specific match. But this is the same for MINAP, and again, the impact of a single game is very relevant. Let's go, for example, on one of the things we used to do, now less. This is a way to what it is called min-max normalization. So you take the minimum of the maximum, and so you have a range to divide and brings all the values from 0 to 1. This is an interesting week because the red line is related to NAMEX, and on that Wednesday, they do the all-time historical picks. And of course, it was a Champions League football match. But also Sunday is a very a day with a lot of traffic. Not so high on Saturday, as you've seen. For Friday, depends if you have some specific matches or not. As you can see, on Saturday, there is a spike, or the hump is very high for MINAP in the late afternoon, not for NAMEX in Rome. The reason is that we can register a very different traffic depending on the geography of the match. Meaning, if there are some team of Milan, for example, or north of Italy, the impact is higher, of course, on the closer exchange. And the opposite way if there are matches related to Roma, Napoli, and so center to south of Italy. Another thing the web measuring, this time not directly from XP Manager, but TDB, is polling the number of the peers. As said, having no direct touches to the specific values and figures of traffic of a provider, of a peer, or whatever, we try to have a, let's say, high-level picture of how they are moving, increasing. In this case, you see that the light blue line, which is MINAP, is practically stable in 6 months. Instead, NAMEX is increasing, steadily increasing, and you will see an impact also on the global traffic. Now, a boring list of the matches we have registered. I only want to notice that the last 4, which was the quarterfinal and semi-final of last year, had no Italian teams at all. You will see the impact anyway of the traffic, even if there are no Italian teams playing. These are the just ended league phase of the running. Of course, these are the number of the weeks and the matches. As you can see, of course, it's a marketing choice related to the number of fans, so potential users. The teams are Inter, which is a team of Milan, and Juventus, which is a team of Turin. And most of the matches are involving or Inter or Juventus. This is the running knockout phase. A couple of notes. The Madrid derby was last Wednesday. I have not the complete values, only some. And again, a match with no Italian team at all. And the last, due to the calendar, the last match of Inter was not at the usual prime time at 9 p.m., but in the late afternoon. So you will see a lower impact in the prime time. Again, we don't know much about the real numbers or what is happening in the providers. In this case, this is an official document, public document of the Italian agency, which is called Agcom, which stands Autorità per la Garanzia e Telecomunicazione. Never mind. It is the government agency for the communication, and there is the link for the report, and every quarter Every 3 months they publish a report. You can, if you're interested, of course, try to see what's going on. There is a slow increase of the FTTH, too slow indeed, FTTH connection in Italy. The number of the users are not so changing year to year. So the increase of the traffic is likely related to more usage, more peers connected, more networks connected, because the Amazon Prime Video users, this is related up to September of last year. We have not, of course, the recent data. But always about this prime time, I'm focusing on it. There is no specific metric. We are trying to introduce a new metric that takes the average, of course, taking only the slots of values. You can do whatever you want, for example, the range. But the average is a good measure because the shape of the hump is very predictable and it's very stable during the matches. So trying to measure the average of this prime time, we have a lot of values. Not surprisingly, they are very close to the 95th percentile because of the shape of the hump and considering the whole day, the level of their average, it's very close. So there are values, for example, but in a graph way, they are I think, more explainable. Take a look at, especially at the lines above. The NAMEX 95th percentile and this prime time average metrics are completely overlap, and these are 6 months of measure. So there is holiday, there is Champions League, there is nothing, there is Christmas, there is whatever. So this measure seems to be consistent. I've underlined with a small red dotted, this green, the green circle that it was week 3, if I remember well. It was the first time that NAMEX reached 1 terabit per second, which is congratulations to them. But in this case, the measures are relatively different because there was a main match of the Italian League, no football, not Champions League match. The time is a little bit earlier. The matches started at 20:45, not at 9. So the average 9 to 11 also have at least half an hour of lost traffic, because as increased immediately at the start of the match, as in this way dropped the end of the match. And so this is good because, of course, in my opinion, because we can measure also the impact of the prime time if the event is not exactly in the prime time. So maybe we can introduce another variable related to the Italian League matches, which started earlier, but not, for example, the Italian Cup, which is another match, another football match. Again, they're exactly at 9, so they are overlapping the time, the prime time. This is an example of the first 6 months of last year. The days with the labels are related to the Champions League matches. And you can see there are 2 things that I think we can notice. One is the narrow, not so narrow, blue line is the Wednesday. And instead the light blue column is the all week. So a lot of Wednesday are very aligned to the week. So if there is no specific event, most of the days behaves. if there is some football matches, and especially the semi-final, and I repeat, there were no Italian teams involved, the difference, the deviation compared to the week is very, very high. This is instead the last 6 months. Again, back, you see the football matches, the Champions League football matches, and this is the last 6 months. What happened? That starting from September, there was a technical update, they told me, and for at least some weeks they do not gather all the values. But starting from October, we saw a strange fact that we will see later with the CDN. During the football matches, the Champions League football matches, so Wednesday night and prime time, the CDN involved in the Amazon ecosystem dropped the traffic, or at least moved the traffic to the other IX, and then at the end of the matches, they again recovered the traffic. So that is why we saw so many Wednesday that aligned to the rest of the weeks and see no impact at all of we say week 45, but compared to 28%, 18% in another occasion, 20%, you say 10% is low as deviation. And the red circle is Christmas. Luckily, at least during Christmas, that was Wednesday, people were doing something other, hope celebrating with family instead of following something on TV. This is an early view of NAMEX, and I think it's very interesting because there is a global growth. If you remember, also the number of the peers is growing steadily. But all the peaks really are related to football matches. So 1 year Wednesday, many times the values of Wednesday are very close to the weekly average or the weekly 95th percentile. When you have a Champions League matches, the deviation are big. This is more detailed with only specific values of Wednesday, the average third quartile, so this is 6 hours. Also the 90th percentile, because I was trying to measure the prime time. Roughly we average 2 hours, but not that easy. 95th percentile is supposed to be 72 minutes, so 1 hour and something. The 90th percentile is 2 hours and 24, so roughly 2 hours and a half. So none of them is precise, but the 90th percentile is too large maybe to get the specific event. And you have seen before the average is very close to 95th percentile. Proceeding, this is the running league. It lacks the last Wednesday, but I can tell you that again it's over 1 terabit per second. And as you can see, it's something like a sawtooth. All the peaks are related to match, at least in the last months. The down is related to Christmas. The same values that we saw for even greater for MINAP, the last tournament, so 35%, 25% least deviation. Again, the last 6 months, you see very large deviation, at least compared to not only to the other Wednesday, but to the MINAP situation. And luckily, again, Christmas was low. The two black or some, the two other Wednesday with a lot of traffic are midweek matches, but as you can see, they are all below 10%. So the comparison with the Champions League is not so good for the matches. This is details of what is happening in this last month, at least January, February. As you can see, there are some other football matches. The yellow arrow is the first time they get the 1 terabits, but I'm most interested in the week 5, which is the all-time peak. And the first time the 95th percentile get 1 terabit, so only not only this percentile, but also the prime time average. This is a vanity metrics, in my opinion. This is the peak, but it's related only to 5 minutes. But it's a fact. Last year, 6 times on 7, they increasingly reached the peak. Was on Wednesday and was during football matches. Also, not all, you see the notes, also for the other internet exchange, it was the all-time peak. This year is continuing. The week 3 was an Italian league match, and was very important. And instead, the week 5, not surprisingly, is a Wednesday Champions League match. All these days in the last weeks, so this year, they reached at least 1 terabits, and you see at least half are Wednesday. Most of them are during UEFA Champions League. The other are, let's say, football matches, Sunday night, sometimes Monday night, but depends on which match is being played. This is a comparison of the same set of weeks, so week 3 to week 10, of the dotted line is the last year, and the full line is the running year. As you can see, the pattern is relatively similar, but the scale is completely different. So they have roughly doubled the traffic in 1 year. And also the time frame of the minimum are relatively the same, around 5 in the morning. And of course, the time frame of the maximum are always related to some event in the prime time in the evening. I say a couple of things to avoid and not to. This is a thing that we are seeing at least starting from October. During some football matches, this is one of the CDN that is used to be together with the Amazon Prime. And they drop the traffic at 9. It's not very easy, but they are precise. And they recover the traffic at 11 when the matches was over. And we see that this could be the main reason of another increase of traffic in Rome, and the fact that in Milan, Wednesday is not so a special day, at least compared to last year. Another thing is a thing that we try to warn, that this is an access provider that was planning a maintenance during a week, and usually they have double the capacity. We warn them, but they say they reached the cap and they have a lot of problems during that night. As you can see exactly in the frame from 9 roughly to 11. So many of these notes of the things I've said, but we can state that the impact, especially in the IX, where the traffic is provided, for example, NAMEX in Rome, not MINAP, because Amazon is not a peer, and for a good routing policy, they drop the traffic also in the CDN related. This kind of traffic seems to be the most important event in Italian traffic. It is also a measure of capacity there. I think they can forecast how the trend of the increase, as you see in one of the map, in one of the graphs, there is the red dotted circle that are steadily increasing the traffic. And the fact is that a little bit sad also that no other event or no other situation has the same impact on Italian traffic, even if, and this is the case of last Wednesday, Italian teams are involved. So, what can I say? It's interesting, but it's a little bit sad because I've not published the results, but last Wednesday it was about a 20% deviation compared to the week. So a match with no Italian team seems to be one of the most trafficked days or prime time. That's it. It's a kind of football nation, maybe useful from other nations. Some people in Bosnia want to share this for their basketball traffic and maybe to address capacity topics or whatever. So that's it. Any
questions for Gianluca? We have a question just at the back there, please.
Very interesting presentation. Thank you. I'm Lasse from Italia. I'm wondering, you're looking into Wednesdays particularly and football.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything in your data that is not related to football? We've seen,
yes,
for example, Fortnite.
Yes. Not here. In another article I published, maybe if you want, at the end of 2023, is what I call the Fortnite Sunday. Because you remember the map, I am taking data from INEX in Ireland, somewhere in Europe, especially in East Europe. And that Sunday was completely different from the other Sunday. I will show you if you want. And this was really the most impacting event not related to football. For example, we have, maybe you know, an Italian tennis player, which is Yannick Sinner, now is winning one. Just won the Australian Open and then the US Open. That's, even if there is the number one in this day, let's follow the tennis matches, the increase of the traffic is nothing related to the football match. But the problem is that even if a stupid quarter-final matches of Italian Cup is higher than everything else. But the Fortnite is one of the few examples. And then later I will show you the link, and there is the Fortnite Sunday that was by heart, beginning of December of not this year, last year. And then with the colleagues in Rome, NAMEX, we saw another Fortnite update couple of months ago, now 3 months ago, something like that, yes. But let's say 1 on 10, 1 on, I don't want to say 1 on 100, but we're not so far from that.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, then
another one.
We have time for a very limited question and answer.
Yes. So a short question. Stefan Alfredsson, Karlstad University. Yeah. So you're looking on the network capacity side. Did you also consider the interaction on the application side? So you see more and more capacity being needed, so you add more capacity. But what happens on the client side is that you have adaptive streaming. So if you don't have that much capacity, you reduce the quality, the bit frame or whatever, and then you add more capacity, and of course the clients will increase. Do you know if you have reached the top quality or what happens there?
I try to answer with, let's say, we are asking, at least with the main platforms, but often they do not answer us. Even if you remind the agency that the government agency, they maybe starting from our research, they are setting up a technical table with the providers, but also for the content providers, in order to share. Because if you remind, I can go that that's the image on the right. We warned them. They say, do not plan your maintenance during the Wednesday football match. They do the same, and they have a lot of issues, a lot of complaints by their customers. But I say that they are stupid, because of course maybe they are obliged to do exactly in that day. But I say, just looking at the last 6 months, and we can provide more than 1 year, more than a tournament. So the last one and the running one, this kind of decision are a little bit stupid. About the answer of the application side, we are asking, but till now some informal answers related, for example, for complaints on DAZN, which is not related to Amazon, because they are providing the Italian league, most of the Italian league matches. So I would like to answer, but I have not an answer.
So we unfortunately have to close the Q&A.
Yes, thank you.
But if there are any more questions for Gianluca, please find him afterwards. But for now, please join me thanking Gianluca for a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, but I have a question for you. Which, is there? I think football is not so popular, so it's not a religion in Sweden. Is there something comparable? I mean, for example, we were talking with Croatian and Bosnian colleagues to measure in the same way basketball matches.
We're going to have to take this in the lunch and see.
Later.
Okay. Come find Gianluca. Thank you so much.